Hello, this is Sandy, and welcome to another KeepsakeCrafts.net jewelry making video. Today we're going to be making this bracelet with beads, and the strands are braided together for a very different and interesting look. So I was inspired to make this bracelet when I saw this flower arrangement and just loved the deep, rich fall colors. So I snapped a picture with my phone and took it with me to the bead store to buy my beads. And as you can see, here are the beads I got. I got 6 different ones in orange and reds and the pinks and purple. I'll be using just the darker purple for this. Some of the strands I won't be using everything. And you want to get them all reasonably similar in size. I think these are the biggest and these are the smallest, but they're not crazy different. It's not like I'm using big 10mm beads and little tiny seed beads, because we're going to be braiding the strands together, so they need to be similar in size. To finish your bracelet, you'll need 2 of these 3-hole connectors, a clasp, a bit of chain to make your bracelet adjustable, 2 jump rings. You'll need 12 each of wire protectors, crimp covers, and crimps. And then I also have some additional spacers and bead caps here to use instead of some of the ones that are on the strands. And you'll need 6 lengths of bead stringing wire, about 16 inches long, and several of these little bead bugs, these bead clamps that keep your beads from falling off. For tools, you'll need wire cutters, chain nose pliers, and crimping pliers. So you can see I've already started here putting 2 of my stringing wires onto each of these 3 loops. I just left 1 to do so I can show you how to do it. And it's the same way that we've done many projects in the past. Onto your wires, slide a crimp and a wire protector. And then slide that wire protector over the loop of your finding. Like I said, I have 2 on each of these 3 loops for my 6 strands. And then that wire end goes back through the crimp. You can squeeze together the ends of your wire protector and then use your crimping pliers to flatten that crimp. First in the U-shaped section farthest from the tips of the crimping pliers. Give it a good squeeze, and then you'll see you have a U-shaped crimp. And then you grab that sideways into the section that's closest to the tips, and that will fold it. Always test, make sure that's nice and strong, and then use wire cutters to trim off the excess wire. And then use crimping pliers. Use those end tips, the little curved part on the end, to pick up a crimp cover and put it right over that flattened crimp. Squeeze gently to close, and now it's a nice finish. Looks like you have a bead there. And so you'll repeat to add 6 strands to your wire, and then it's just a matter of stringing your beads onto this wire. Now I did a little pre-stringing and testing, and you're going to need a lot more beads than you might think to make a bracelet length. So to get started, I'm going to go ahead and string 12 inches of bead. That's why I cut 16-inch lengths of wire, so I'd be sure not to run out. But I'm going to string 12 inches of each of my beads onto these strands. And if you have like a thicker bead and a smaller bead, you can put those together. Try to make your pairs of strands about equal in thickness. It's not a huge deal, but I think it will just look a little bit nicer in the end. So you just string on your beads, and of course make sure to use your bead bugs to clamp all the ends securely. Okay, so I've strung on all my beads and added bead stoppers to the end. And what you want to do for each strand is kind of hold it up so that all the beads are slid down to your first end, and bring your stopper right up against the last bead. It'll move a little bit as you're braiding, but you don't want any gaps. And do that for each strand. Next, it's helpful to find something kind of heavy to hold onto this end while you're braiding. So I've got just a little pair of vice grips so I can clamp onto that just to hold it down. And then you're going to separate out your 3 pairs of strands and then just simply braid them. So if you don't know how to braid, it's very simple. It's left over middle, and now that's the new middle, and then right over the middle, and then that's the new middle, and then you just repeat left and right, and that's all there is to it. Now you may want to try this a couple different times. Try braiding it more tightly, more loosely, until the look that you get suits the beads that you have and that you like the look. And you just keep going until you reach the length that you want your bracelet to be. You may want to try it on your wrist because this has some thickness, so you'll need a little bit more than the actual measurement of your bracelet. And I found for, let's see, about 7 inches of bracelet, I used about, like on this one, about 9 inches of beads. So once you've decided that you're at an end, then you're just going to remove the excess beads on each strand one at a time and finish them off on your other 3-hole separator the same way, using crimps and wire protectors. And take care when you pull them up snug. You don't want to pull up your braiding too snug or you may distort it. Just pull it up just enough so that it lies nice and flat like this. So here you can see I've finished my braiding, and I've added all but one of my strands of beads to the other 3-hole connector. And the easiest way to do this is to start with the 2 that are going to go on the middle loop, and then do the pair on the right and the pair on the left. And I thought I would just show you the final one. So what you want to do is, with each strand, is take your strand and just give the beads a push down the wire and make sure that there aren't any gaps, empty spots on the wire. Then you're going to hold your beads near the loop that they're going to be attached to and see where you want to remove beads from. So I've got the whole thing stretched flat, I've got my string of beads tugged taut, and I'm going to remove it. Remember that you're going to take up some space with your wire guardian and with your crimp and crimp cover. So I think I'm going to take up everything from this bead after. So then you can just hold it over a dish or something to remove the beads, and then add your crimp, your wire protector. Make sure your strand is twisted the way you want it to be, and then add your wire protector to the loop. And of course the wire goes back through the crimp. And in this case it really is a good idea to leave a little bit of slack just so the beads can move freely and lie nicely. And then just use your crimping pliers to flatten it and add your crimp cover as before. And so here's your braid all completed. Now keep in mind, sometimes these end pieces want to flip through here, and it will actually undo your braid, and you just tuck them back through just the same way. Just tuck this back through until it looks right again. And the final steps are to open a couple of jump rings, use one to attach your clasp, and use the other to attach your piece of chain. And your bracelet is done. Here's another look at the bracelet we made today. I hope you like this idea of making strands of beads and braiding them together. This isn't only limited to a bracelet. You could use the same thing to make a focal section of a necklace. So thanks so much for watching Keepsake Crafts videos. If you like this video, please make sure you have subscribed to my YouTube channel so you'll see more like it. You can follow me on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and on my blog. Happy creating. Bye-bye.